Now that the Bard isn't a part of the equation, you know, there's
only
less...
got to worry about the Alistair and the Neeko.
Okay, but that's the scariest one if they want to do another front-to-back style team composition. We see the bans already coming in. Again, GX picking first pick, I believe, here. So we'll have access. We'll see if there's any priority champion that they really want to get their hands on as we see the Yunara, again, banned, the Varus, nothing too surprising there, as well as the Mbessa and the Ryze.
I mean, my worry for GIANTX is I think their draft was a lot better in game one. I think the analysts were coping a little bit, trying to give it to KC just because they out-executed GIANTX. GIANTX were the one that had all the tools, they had all the engage, but they couldn't find their mark. And I do want to touch on what Vedi said. I think Jun is the one player that I trust on GIANTX to actually always find the good engages. So I want to see him on Rakan, on Neeko, because then they can transition a good early game that they had in game one to an actual game win.
Yeah, I 100% agree, Jack. And I think for Isma, it's about trying to, again, see if you can find a champion that can then support that bottom lane. And Jarvan was kind of the one pick to me that really stood out, and we saw him get the success. But now that that's taken away, what is the option that you want to try and go for here?
I mean, he did have a great Aatrox game.
True,
so it could be something that they look for. Probably not first pick, as there's no Yunara for GIANTX the first pick, no Varus either.
And there you go.
Sion.
There you go. It's a Sion. Okay. Locked in. And now this is not the flashiest pick, but it does set us up for the exact same front-to-back style situation for GX at the very least. And it's a lane where Lot can lose gracefully. And I would love to aspire for more for Lot, but if GX want to play towards bottom side, it makes sense to play something safe.
It does open up Canna, though, and this was a conversation, Jack, we were having backstage, which is, you know, if Canna is able to go towards more of these carry-orientated picks, that feels like where he's more comfortable rather than on these more tank-orientated picks. So from that perspective, you end up going with, you know, Canna on something like a Gwen, where he can try and bully through this top side. You still got a fairly strong bot lane now with the Corki locked in for Caliste. It feels like for KC, you're still in a relatively good spot with this draft.
And Jack, when we look at the Corki, is it just good against every scaling matchup? Like, do you feel like KC picking the Corki this early just shuts down or at least makes it difficult for GX to slam some front-to-back style AD carry that could scale well into this game?
I think that's the idea, for sure. It's just a lane that typically won't lose. And it does maybe try to hamper that Kai'Sa pick that Noah would want to go for. They look in the Aurora. I hope it's not top lane, because I think it's there's a lot of better picks you can go up against the Sion.
You're such a hater.
I mean,
let Canna play the counter pick, man.
Well, we've seen Gwen annihilate Sion, so I'd rather have that, for example. And it also outscales. The thing with Aurora is she's very burst-oriented. So there comes a point where she just doesn't have enough damage to get through the Sion. And especially with Corki as well, not a great tank killer. I think KC are on a clock. And I really like the Ezreal Neeko from Noah and Jun here. It's going to be answered by the Nami to just kind of out-sustain and try to give Corki that
and I will say, following up on what the analyst desk said, we wanted to see playmaking from Jun. Certainly you have that with the Neeko, as well as the range support to kind of try and match the Nami. And it's actually going to be Busio who's playing with those ankle weights on as the Nami. Not a guy who can face check, not a guy who should be able to move around the map and make plays, although I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to go for it anyway.
And they get to move those ankle weights onto Canna here in this draft as well, because now you start to ban away some of those top laners that might be an issue for a loss and make things just a little bit easier for the Sion in that top side. And if that's the case for GIANTX, I think they're in a significantly stronger spot. And there goes that Gwen, because I do think this Aurora can still be flexed to the mid. Kyeahoo has played the Aurora in the mid lane, and we've kind of started to see it move up in priority across some of the other regions, just because it has a good matchup into almost everything that's more meta, quote-unquote, in the mid lane.
What I would love to say is I'm worried about KC's comp and killing tanks, but then I remember last game they had a Jhin into Jarvan, and it didn't really matter. So I feel like I'm going to hold on to that in the back pocket and see how it plays out. But I do think that KC, they really want to look for kind of tank killing top, so that at least they can put Lot behind and always be winning on the side lane. And you can see that GIANTX are thinking the same thing. They banned the Gwen, they banned the Gnar, so they just want to try to set him up for a good matchup. It's going to be the Dr. Mundo lock-in as a flex pick here. Both jungle and top can be played into the Sion, and we'll see where KC wants to put up.
And KC showing us a lot of potential flex picks, which if GX aren't concerned, certainly if KC are able to pull this out, their opponents tomorrow, MKOI, will be. Having the Mundo and Aurora in the same draft makes it really tough, I think, for the side of GX to lock down comfortable lane matchups.
I wonder if Isma has the Jace in his back pocket, because honestly it's kind of fallen off, but you've already got the Ezreal, a Jace as well, and there's KC don't have a huge amount of engage tools. And the tanks are pretty much taken away from Canna, who can't play that engage. So I'm curious. Yeah, there it is. I think it's a really good option here for Isma.
Great call out, Rob. The only thing is, I don't trust Isma to play slow and play poke. I feel like Isma is at his best when he can go in and go a bit crazy.
I don't think Isma trusts Isma to play poke.
I saw the diddly, I was like, oh, they're worried about poke. And I was like, Jay? So then,
yeah. There you go. Aatrox, obviously, a lot of that sustain can be a terror if he finds the angles. And again, this is the champion that versus Na'Vi, we saw him really pop off, really take over in the early games, conceding camps, not playing for himself, but instead playing to shut down the opposition, get active in those lanes, as we see the classic Vayne hover from Busio. But the final lock in here, would really not be surprised to see the Rek'Sai. It would commit the Aurora to the mid lane up against the Taliyah from Jackie's.
Yeah, so it's going to be the Rek'Sai, and now it's kind of frontline versus frontline here, with Rek'Sai fulfilling that tank role for KC. So both teams have a pretty standard front to back. I do still, I think, prefer GIANTX's comp a little bit more. I like the bot lane matchup. I like Jun on the Neeko. He's shown a lot of good performances on it. Jackie's doesn't have the most setup from his teammates, at least not the most orthodox setup, as he does have the Aatrox knockups, the Sion knockups, but it can be hard to land them to set him up for success.
I do think one of the nice things, though, with the Darkened Blade is it's pretty easy to take off Mundo passive if Yike's not super clean on kind of stepping in and out of that. And you really need to be able to do it because you'd like to be able to land the Sion Qs. You'd like the Neeko roots to take effect. So important that GX have that tool to take that out of the equation. But I'm inclined to agree. For the second game in a row, I think the path to success for GX feels a lot clearer. But again, we said that in game one. Yeah. We said that, you know, Jin, they shouldn't be able to kill this front line. They killed the front line like it was nothing. And it makes a lot of things difficult to predict about how this game will play out.
Yeah, I do think, though, this is where at least you've got substantially, I think, stronger lanes for GIANTX. Like, Jackie should have a decent matchup against Aurora. Aurora has two abilities that just CC her if she's standing on the unraveled earth, which makes things significantly easier for him. And you have the ability to try and play around bot lane, which can try and set up for ganks. So I agree with Jack. I really think GIANTX, again, have given themselves good tools, but we'll have to see if they're going to be able to solidify them.
That we are heading into our second game in this best of 5 series. And honestly, best of 5 live audience, it's a dream. I genuinely just hope we can go full 5 so we can see the full depths of champion pools, because already the first 2 games have had some pretty interesting drafts, but it's a tall task for GX. They had the early game in game 1, now trying to bounce back in game 2. Let's see if they can get off on the right foot.
And I think if you're KC and G2 later on, you're hoping this goes to 5 as well. See exactly what your opponent has to do and see if you can tire them out before that weekend goes ahead, especially as we haven't got to see the depths of so many different teams yet. Just having that info could be so valuable.
I would love to see what Caliste and Busio has cooked up as we go later into this series. Currently, it's pretty vanilla here with the Corki Nami. Not something that would be vanilla a few months ago, but kind of feels like Reckless popularized this Nami pick. Especially good support with the Corki. It's kind of similar to Lucian Nami because you proc that Nami E so quickly with all of Corki's spells. I do think in the early game, there shouldn't be too much action happening because there's not a whole lot of CC. We talked a little bit about how GIANTX doesn't have the easiest time setting up fights, and it's even more so for K-Corp here. They have like a Nami bubble and a Rek'Sai knockup and a slow from Dr. Mundo. It's not a whole lot. We're kind of grasping at straws here, trying to think of how we actually start a fight. So it's really about who missteps, who is in the wrong spot at the wrong time, so that one team can collapse on them and get a kill that way.
And I think we're all thinking it. At least the AD carry players and me, because I've heard Jack say this before. Oh, never mind. We're thinking about the fist fight that's happening in bot lane as a barrier has been traded for a heal.
This is deja vu. This was the exact same thing that happened in game 1. Heal barrier used from Noah and Jun here. And I love the fact that they're playing really aggressive.
But this time, Caliste has the extra combat zone, crucially doesn't have to cleanse, has a barrier of his own, partially because there isn't that CC. There's no Ash Arrow this time around, so isn't as afraid, and now holding on to that summoner spell advantage certainly feels good, especially as Busio's also up a pot. But we know Nami to be this massively oppressive laning champion. She has all that healing in her kit, but the AoE from Neeko and the Ezreal at least able to get these pushes forward.
And as long as you can keep that pressure up, I think you're in a decent spot as both junglers starting to move down towards this bottom side of the map. I think this time around, I was about to say I think Yike will just end up kind of full clearing, but it's been spotted on an early ward. So GIANTX aware that he's trying to get in behind them.
So playing with Goss, Noah eating forward, has to flash the bubble. Excuse me, eating to the side rather than straight back.
I mean, ice in Caliste's veins here as he continues clicking forward, doesn't even burn the barrier. Forces Noah's flash now, and Noah's going to look to recall. Yike was so fast on his pathing that he was able to pressure bot quite a bit before the crab spawn, as Caliste needs to be
Caliste is
careful.
playing very cocky.
He does have the barrier.
He does have the barrier, but I'm just waiting for the flash-empowered auto from Jun.
Yeah.
And, like, he decides to back off, which
Yeah.
I think is the right choice. Get your base while you can. But credit to KC, just the difference in Summoner Spell, confidence in this lane matchup, already setting up for a lot more success than we saw in Game 1.
And Yike being first there made it so that KC could play really aggressively. Knew that Isma wasn't in the area. It's going to be crab for crab, but a slight CS lead for Caliste and no flash. So that's going to be a big thing that KC is looking for. Yike is going to now full clear back down to bot lane, and he still has the tempo lead on Isma. So that's a good timer for KC to try to punish the flashless Ezreal.
But what we saw in the last game was Yike almost always goes for this like reset to get the upgraded smite so you can force the crab and get that level 6. Isma punished that in the last game. He said, I don't care, I'm going to full clear, and I'm going to sit in top rush and make sure that I can get a play. So I'm curious now as we start to see these second clears, do we get something similar from Isma where he tries to use that timing window of Yike gone reset to try and fish for some sort of play?
I do think it's pretty tough, though. Kind of waiting on the setup from your laners to make those Aatrox ganks work. It's just a harder angle than the Jarvan, right? Just not so linear, not so easy to set up the dives, and falling behind here doesn't feel great against a champion like Mundo who can snowball to be just such a lethal threat.
Yeah, the only reason I'm saying is because you look at like top wave starting to bounce. There's a ward already that Sion has placed in that first bush to spot if any ward does go into that. So on that push back, maybe there's a way that Isma can try and sneak in, but it is going to be a bit of a tough ride. But still, it's these kind of things that Isma has been doing good on trying to find. Oh, Canna.
Oh. 2 tower shots?
Getting pretty chunked. He's going to be able to regen, though.
Just Rek'Sai things. And oh my gosh.
The problem is when you're matching full clears like this, like KC and GIANTX are doing, the one that's fastest always has the advantage. As you can see, Yike is able to put down a ward in this tri-bush and just have full control here of the bot side. Tries to force Isma out. He started up this dragon though, but GIANTX are the one with bot lane wave control. Yike taking some damage from the Drake. It's just going to be forced to reset that. But you can see how difficult it is for GIANTX bot lane to really push their lead, as Jun is starting to run pretty damn low on mana as well.
That he is. And Noah's Flash is the one summoner spell that still has not come off cooldown, obviously much longer than the respective barriers or heals, so difficult for him to play more aggressive, fight for more space. As in the mid lane, kyeahoo winning out on the 1v1.
Not a whole lot for Isma to do. The thing is, Yike is now going to look to go up for that crab at bot lane.
Damage from the Jun. Flash forward, manages to get the root. Good damage from Noah, but the Q goes wide, and that's devastating. Barrier comes out now. Double bubble from Busio, managing to live. I mean, Betty said it best. He's busting, yo. There's no stopping him.
Oh my God. KC bot lane showing why they're the best in the league, but the fighting
it's going
doesn't
from
stop.
bad to worse.
KC, they might be outnumbered in the fans, but they're showing up in game. They're going to pick up 3 kills. And they are in firm control of game 2.
It's Bussin's bubbles that set up KC in the bottom lane, but it might be GIANTX's bubble that just popped 3 kills early, and it is devastating for GIANTX.
And it feels ruthless to say it, but you have to call it like you see it. That's an unmitigated disaster. Canna was already winning out on the 1v1, and now he has that kill, that extra influx of gold. We take a look back at this. Again, this is the topside play that we didn't get to see the start of, and it's working out well for KC.
The skill shots are just not landing. Mundo passive was not procced when Isma used 3 Qs and a W. Like, just mechanically, I think GIANTX are not able to execute on their vision, on their plays, and Busio is just kind of the GOAT.
And I apologize. Betty said it. I thought it was kind of funny.
I can't say that without revealing I'm over 30. That's how this works, all right?
But he's not. And he'd also actually probably think this is kind of cringe. But the man's playing like a demon. Regardless of the words you want to use to describe it, I think he deserves that respect. And it's starting to feel like a lot of those other GXKC matchups where bot is just a bridge too far. Game 1 was different. It was a breath of fresh air in this rivalry between bottom lanes, but Busio, it just seems like he's got them all figured out.
Yeah, he's showing up great today. On the range supports as well, showing so much versatility. We've seen him with great success on the Rakan, on the Alistar, and the Bard, but now we're seeing it on the Nami as well. Like, I didn't know Nami bubbles were scary. I thought that those are like, you throw it out, and you don't really care if it hits. Nobody expects it to hit. Then you hit both people? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Oh, he's doing him dirty.
That's insane.
You're not supposed to land those.
He's just built different. I don't know what to tell you. And I think this is why, like, it's been such a joy to have him come across, and why so many people were excited about Busio coming across with FlyQuest. Because when he got to those internationals, people were saying, like, this isn't just like a good support from NA. This is potentially the best support in the West right now. And Busio again, finding this success in the bottom lane for KC, making things uncomfortable for GIANTX, and really making NA regret their decisions not to pick him up.
Definitely fair, as Isma, a call to take notes, but falls a little flat, I think, in this one as they're being zoned away. And credit to KC for making the fast play, hiding in that brush, as now we've got a tidal wave, only connecting onto one, but forces GX back, and well-timed to go along with the Mundo smite, as now Jackie's trying to get involved, looking to make a play of his own. Busio, they get the flash, traded for the ulti there, so perhaps they can go back to bot lane and get a kill, but KC already got the Drake.
Bro, have you seen the scary Nami? He was just 1 versus 4, pressuring all of them, forces the Jackie's ult. Yes, he has the flash in the end, but it buys KC so much time to get the Drake for free. Normally, you'd think, like, we saw him do this in the Bard game, and it's like, okay, you're playing Bard, you always have the magical journey, so you're gonna be fine. You can't do this on Nami. He's still doing it on Nami, and GIANTX, they have no response.
And at a certain point, we just... The man's just built a little different.
I mean, I'm not going to, like... This guy makes me want to go home and play solo queue. Like, when I watch, like,
and
his
that
Alistair performances...
is the true tragedy of this game, is that people are going to walk away from this and decide that Nami is the champion they need to spend their time on.
Oh, that's fascinating, man. Like, please, that jump is so useless. Like, you're not going to hit the bubble, bro. Like, come on.
Not with that attitude.
You're not that guy. Trust me, bro. You're not that guy.
You're not T1 carrier, and your team is not T1.
Or in this case, KC or Busio. Has to hit that level of respect. Of course, the game's not over yet, but a 2.4K gold lead, again, starting to feel just like it did in the previous game, but ahead of schedule. Last game, it was the 10 to 15 minute mark where GX couldn't quite find their footing, couldn't really press their advantage. This game, a bit of a different story, as Jackie's some nice footwork, some nice damage, but not a lot to get there in that 1v1 trade.
Because obviously we've been hard focused on this bottom side with 2 kills now into Caliste, but look at the other lanes, right? Like, you got a kill and a sizable CS lead starting to open up for Canna. Same in this mid lane as well. Like, KC are actually just finding success through their mid lane, or through their lanes, where in some of these, I didn't expect them to find as much success. So I think for KC, as long as you can continue to keep these waves pushed in, start to try and play towards objectives, you're in a good spot. And even here, it looks like Yike just starting to poke his head in so he can spot out where Isma is and deny him access to those lanes.
Yeah, normally we talk about invading the jungle. You want bot push, you want mid push. Mid and bot were basically even. He walked into the jungle anyway. He knows how strong his team
Mundo.
is.
Yeah, Mundo does go where he
literally,
pleases.
he's going where he
Like,
pleases. It certainly doesn't please Isma. Isma losing Raptors, annoyed, but at the very least he has Sundered Sky. Maybe that can be the difference in the next fight. But for KC, everything going in their favor thus far is kyeahoo just getting active. That's the ulti and the weirding.
And the proto belt, Chobi style. That's a decent trade, but yeah, not much more than that.
Okay, got the ghost for that one.
Worth. As Lot now opening vault. Okay, this is, I'm not going to say that this is prime time desperation, but this play needs to work from GIANTX. Lot does have the TP, so he can use that up towards top of it, but he's already ulting. There's no minions.
Charging in, Caliste just sides it. Now the TP coming in. Tidal wave forcing them back, but at least they match the TPs. Now they need to get the hell out, though, and that's going to be the hard part, because, again, Yike going where he pleases. kyeahoo isolated. Goes invisible for a moment, keeps the exchange going forward. Flash in from Yike. Lot maybe not the ideal target, but it seems like they have enough damage to finish. Jackie's trying to fire back. And Jun's ready to turn it. Isma ready, and they just line up for the Qs to get dunked down by the Aatrox.
And that's Jun's Neeko. It's the one we were talking about, the one we were excited about. And he shows up here. Oh, no, it's
no.
He's recalling on a ward.
He's been marked.
Okay, it's fine. I thought Caliste would go for that.
Just going to arcane shift away.
I think Caliste failed the W over the wall. That's why he didn't go. I saw the little particles now.
I mean, still, though, you called it there, Jack. Jun with a huge turnaround, because Lot has no flash in this situation. So KC see him as vulnerable. They hit the slow. They're ready to follow up. Yike even investing to try and get that last little bit of a slow. But Jun with a huge play and the double CC afterwards. And they just disappear.
And that was a poorly calculated situation by KC, I think it's safe to say. Yike, I think, flash going for the cleaver, hoping to hit Jackie's, knowing that's an important kill, but Lot just got a ton of passive value in that fight. Love coming into zombie form and seeing multiple CC targets in front of you, as we now have a pause. As per usual, whether we are in Berlin, Spain, or anywhere else in the world, we'll keep you up to date as we know more. But it gives us more information to talk about what the hell happened there, because
I think it makes sense for me, because KC, they see Lot, he's like really overextended, right? He's used ultimate, he's flashed out, and it's kind of, as a team, you're kind of thinking like, what the hell are GIANTX doing? You know, they tried to go for the dive, they failed it. Now we can try to run them down. But then you don't think about, okay, who's moving first? Is it Busio? Is it Jun? Where are the members actually moving? Because it was Noah and Jun that had the first move. They were able to collapse. And it's a good play for GIANTX, but it's still not like, as much as we're singing the praises, it's still KC that are in control of this game. They're staying with the gold lead.
But that's a weakness in the armor that I think is important for GX to have faith. As we're resuming shortly here. GX did initiate the pause, but it looks like we're getting right back into game. So not much other information needed. So if you're just joining us, KC up 1-0 in the series. Game 1 a little bit more hard fought. Game 2 outside of the play we just missed, or might just see again. It's been pretty much KC from the start.
Yeah, I think it's now about, okay, what can we transition this into as GIANTX to get a little bit more gold? Oh, hang on.
Flushing forward.
Tidal Wave going in, trying to look for Jun. They know he has no ulti, so I guess they think that's their window of opportunity. But they get the flash from Noah.
Because I was about to say Dragon is up in a couple of seconds, so that was where I was like, okay, GIANTX, you reset, you got an item completion on both Isma and Jackie's, maybe you can try and play in towards something, but KC just full send on bot lane.
I think Caliste just got a bit pissed off from the pause. You know, like he wants to play, he's ready, he wants to put down the aggression on Noah and Jun here, show his superiority as the best bot lane in the league. And I can confidently say I think Busio is the best support in the league. For me, the only question mark is if Caliste is better than the likes of Hansama and Supa. Oh, as now,
right now, it needs to be better
behind.
than Noah, as we've got a TP coming in from behind. Isma speeding through with the World Ender. Heals from Busio to get the movement speed. Ulti going in. This time the play looks like it's working out as Isma's actually there to fall, but the bubble is not enough. But Caliste is alive! But Corki lives. GX have burned everything that they've got to try to keep this fight going. Can they make it out unscathed? Jun ready to try and find the disengage. Locked, still living. Yike in trouble with the healing. Going to come in. He finally pops the ultimate. So many blinking health bars. Yike getting one. They want to find the bomb as kyeahoo set to take over. Reset on the W. Going back in. Aurora alongside the Nami. Ready to start taking heads.
What are these bubbles, bro? He's hitting bubble after bubble after bubble. Busio, I don't understand. How are you doing so much in these team fights?
It's Battle Nami, baby! This man is doing wonders, and the fact that Caliste doesn't fall is insane, because everyone on GIANTX is here. He holds onto the Valkyrie for the last second, still gets hit, but Jackie's with the flick back actually gets interrupted by the Sion Q, which means Caliste gets to walk away, and from this position, KC can collapse.
Okay, so Busio hits a 2-man bubble. He's about to hit another bubble. Let's see, bubble, bubble, bubble. It's another 2-man bubble, and then that takes Isma down with an auto attack and Yike red buff, and then he hits another bubble onto Jun. It's just like, when are you seeing a Nami hit 2-man bubbles in a team fight and then a third bubble at the end? Like, I don't understand. This is not the champion.
So actually, there is no Busio on that screen because he's actually just a robot. He's done all the calculations. We've replaced him.
That's the only convincing pitch for AI I've heard this entire year, Rob. But if this is what it brings us, safe to understand. Busio on a tear. 1-0-6, not quite 100% kill participation, but involved just about everything else. GX now starting up the Herald. They've got first access here. Yike level 11 looking scary, has the XP advantage. But GX, more members committed in the meantime. kyeahoo in the bottom lane, already pushing, already looking to lock up those plates. You got Canna hovering in top lane, debating if they want to play for some exit kills here, but KC, I think, after the last skirmish where they overplayed their hand, they're willing to take a step back because they know how far ahead they are.
Yeah, kyeahoo with no TP there is going to be happy just getting that bot tower. So it's going to be, I think, a gold trade up for KC, but we'll have to see how GIANTX can use this Rift Herald in their advantage. That's the one tool that they now have over KC, but Caliste is just taking the mid tower.
At least there's no Bard this game, so hopefully it'll go a little bit better for them. But yeah, I think at this stage for GIANTX, it's hope that you can try and find some sort of pick plays. Like, I like the idea of what they went for on the bottom side. Try and use Jackie's ultimate. Now you've got the Rift Tower to add a little bit more oomph to it. And we're all collapsing a mid, but I don't know if the waves are in a position where they can really bring multiple members to that mid lane.
And I think this game is so tricky for the side of GX because you would love for Noah to hit these priority targets. You can see how vulnerable they are, but the front line is just always going to be in front of him, blocking those Mystic shots. It's really going to be so hard for him to land any meaningful damage on those key carries, especially when individually everyone's behind their respective man. 1.7k gold lead for Caliste. You cannot go toe-to-toe with him no matter how many Qs you're hitting. And the same is true for kyeahoo, who has access to that ulti, has access to that TP, and gets super active on the map.
Yike is going where he pleases right now. TP behind from Canna.
Isma not too pleased.
kyeahoo actually.
Isma's just trying to catch out Busio, but Busio's clean on the move. It's just not going to happen. Looking for the Sundered Sky proc, taking their sweet time, giving the kill over to kyeahoo, and
so difficult for Isma to play. He has no moving lanes. He loses the 1v1 at this point. And Yike is just so fast with the Swifty Boots, with the Dead Man's Blade, that he can go wherever he wants. And it's an uphill battle for GIANTX now. They need to find like a 3-4 man Jun ultimate. I don't know, I'm like grasping at straws here, trying to think how they can make this comeback happen. KC are looking really dominant here.
Maybe if they hit those perfect ultis on, again, crucially, the backline. kyeahoo, Caliste, Busio. If you can connect that CC on the backline and have enough damage to finish them this time, because remember, they did have one good play where the setup was there, they just couldn't get all the damage they needed.
And it's so hard to do that. Like Canna, Yike just gets to stand in the way, Busio throws out the ultimate, and it's kind of like Lot sending himself in and hoping that something happens at the end of the day. Because even if you get on to the back line, like say Jackie's gets a good wall, you've still got like Valkyrie, kyeahoo still has the ability to get over the wall as well. The tools that GIANTX have to lock down KC are still really difficult to make work in these fights.
Yeah, and then as well, it's like a lot of the time you want to rely on someone like the front line to make a mistake, but Yike and Canna can both go so deep due to the fact that they are ahead. I mean, Yike now have 2k gold, up a full item on Isma. So difficult. As now Hextech Dragon spawning in 1 minute. It's going to be a fight that GIANTX desperately need to take.
And that's so disgusting. You're a team that's already ahead, that we said, hey, you know, kind of struggles to start fights. Well, if you just have some poke and a Hextech Soul that slows them down, it makes it much easier to try and find these engages.
I agree, Yoshi. Let's go Dagda.
Let's go Dagda.
Shout outs to him. He's the real hero of this game. Forget about Busio. It's all about Dagda. Robot sent from the future to analyze.
Oh, the Dagatron?
No, it said let's go Dagda.
Okay.
There's a little bit of a side tangent here. This is a tough one, right? We look at itemization completions, and the only, like, guys, the cloud is big and the silver lining is very thin. Oh my God. Just be glad, if you're a GX fan, that the tier wasn't fully stacked yet, or very likely Noah dies there, as Canna could be in trouble. Nice interrupt on the initial tunnel, looking for the side lane pick, and it looks like everything is going well. Nice for GX. They might lose out on the objective, but they're at least going to get the side lane, the objective bounty, and a little bit more gold in their pocket.
Very clean execution by GIANTX to pick up the kill. It is still, though, KC getting plates on mid, but a slight, what would you say, like, they put a bandage on the wound?
Yeah, they relieve the pressure, right? A little bit.
And it will help at least this a bit, getting some of that goal back. KC couldn't really get tower. I mean, it's difficult to take towers in one fell swoop at this stage, so it does mean, though, KC versus this dragon.
Yeah, Canna is still dead for 10 seconds. He does have the TP, but Caliste is really far forward here. I think GIANTX, they really want to try to fight before Canna spawns. kyeahoo might be in trouble.
Mark on kyeahoo. He's walking away. Jackie's also pushing for the pick on the side. kyeahoo just staying at the edge of that decimating smash as KC starts to collapse. The dragon only slightly started. Yike debating where he wants to go. His lot is getting chunked out.
KC are spacing them so well here, making GIANTX life miserable, and they're just going to drop the Drake.
I mean, Jun has no ulti. They used it in the previous fight, right? All that AoE, we talked about that dream scenario. They used it to get a pick on side lane. That's good, but they needed it. They're not far enough ahead to play a fight without those key ultimates.
So KC have to take the objective, third dragon now. Even as Canna TP back in as well, they were just able to kind of fish with Canna to force Noah away. It's difficult here again, and GIANTX, like, you can see the windows that they're trying to play through. You can see these moments where they think, okay, maybe we can make this work. But it is so difficult against a team like KC. They have so few weaknesses. They push games to the very limit, even if it doesn't go their way from the get-go. And GIANTX just feel like they can't figure out how to take them down.
And you can see how hard a game is to play when you summon a Herald like this. You can't even get pushed on side. They tried to all move 5-man, but they quickly gave up. And they weren't even able to crash the Herald. KC now, the only choice is, do we want to start the Nash? Do we want to wait for Soul? Soul is the easy, safe way, but they're feeling a little bit more brave. They could look to start the Nash and try to end the game even faster.
I think the safest route is, can you fish for these cooldowns? Can you use your vision setup to maybe get an ulti out of Jun? Maybe get some of these more powerful utility tools out of the equation, because I think there is that looming threat of GX landing the perfect combo, and they struggled a lot in the last game to do it, but there's a lot less effective tools against them this time around. The tidal wave is the really big one that they have to pay respect to, but you can still see if Jun finds the creative angle, if Caliste forgets to count the minions, there's a hope, there's a dream. It does feel like a little bit of a wish and a miracle needed for the side of GX in this one, but there's at least an angle.
I mean, if GIANTX can find those picks, though, this game becomes significantly easier for them to play. Taliyah can get pushed on side, you get that tempo where she can now use the ultimate to try and look for plays on mid or elsewhere on the map, but there is standing gold there for GIANTX as well, with mid and bot tower still available. But you have to try and find that pick, because especially in 3 minutes, you're going to be fighting against a potential soul for KC with 3 items, I imagine, starting to come through for most of their guys.
Because right now the discrepancy is like half an item, right? So it's not the end of the world. Is it hard to fight? Yes, most certainly, especially in the support position. You have Imperial Mandate, you have Mikhails. That's going to be a tough thing to manage. But if you go to the next, if you wait for Drake, when there's a 3rd item there for Caliste, likely a 3rd item for kyeahoo as well, it's really hard to imagine that perfect scenario coming together.
Yeah, and KC have full control of the Nash. Jackie's was able to push out a side lane, but it's just so hard to take down Yike. You can see how far up he's playing, even though Busio and Caliste is quite far behind. It doesn't really matter, because, I mean, they just don't have the damage to take down Yike. GIANTX want to try to contest the crab, though. They're trying to enter in slowly. But it's just a free pick for Yike, so... The clock is ticking.
Yeah, he's so close to 16. As soon as that ends up ticking over,
I mean, versus the level almost 13 of Isma. I mean, nice to hit 13 on Aatrox.
It's also just how strong Mundo is at 16, right? Like, the ultimate that you get is just insane.
Yeah, it's... Again, and another game where we see GX, in theory, having the tools, but KC just executing so much better.
Yeah, and for me, the hard part is, whenever I want to, like, the silver linings for GIANTX, you know? I would want to criticize their draft, talk about how could they change the draft, because that's always an easy thing to change, right?
Sure.
But I liked their drafts in both games. I thought they had winning drafts in both games. So it's so hard for me to see, like, other than Noah and Jun and Isma having a hero performance, KC are just better.
And it's a harsh thing, right? We always want to talk about it, like, how can they do it? But when we talk about drafts, when we talk about teams that aren't favored in matchups, we often say simplified. GX simplified. It wasn't enough to make up for the difference.
Orange Jarvan.
We had Orange Jarvan. It's the most straightforward.
Orange Jarvan Orianna. It's like, that's what people write about the Go Comp,
right, yeah, it's and KC dismantled it. And GX, again, going with, I think, a more simple, although maybe there's a bit more, you know, it's a bit more complicated than game 2, but another favorable draft that feels like it has better tools for execution. But KC have just been that much better, that it doesn't matter. They've been getting value out of this Nami that we did not expect to see, especially against Neeko. That's a champ that has kind of runs our league a lot of the time, as we see Caliste unafraid to go in, but he might have wanted to be afraid to flash away. The Mikhails means at least they get the disengage. But now it's Isma, who's maybe overstayed. A quick umbral dash over the wall means he'll be fine. KC ready for a fight. GX maybe taking on a little too much.
GIANTX used 2 big ultimates, though, right before this soul. That was the play. The hope for GIANTX. Now Yike stepping forward.
kyeahoo going for a bit more poke.
GIANTX now, they're zoned out. They're already channeling the recalls. It's 10 minutes to the
another
break.
knockup. Flick back on Caliste. Caught again. This time he doesn't have the access to the Mikhails. The Ignite taking the flash in from Isma. KC now looking to bring it back. Isma not able to find the knockup as the ulti comes in from Canna to take down the enemy jungler. kyeahoo on the backside wants to finish off Jackie's. KC maybe getting a bit overeager as Lot still remains a stalwart frontliner. Noah trying to find the angles with the Qs. They're finally connecting, but the damage just isn't there. Down goes Lot, and KC take the exchange.
GIANTX needed to force. They needed to make sure that they finished off KC here, because Isma went down. And with no jungler, KC will pick up the soul.
And Caliste got caught. It looked like it was a chance for GIANTX to make it back in the game, but they had to use so many tools to try to get him.
He got caught twice.
He got caught
it wasn't
twice.
enough. This is the second time.
I mean, I don't think it could get better for GIANTX the way this fight starts off. But even then, Isma just isn't tanky enough without that World Ender ultimate. And then they can just run down GIANTX. Noah doesn't have the damage. A really nice flash from kyeahoo to get Jackie's down. And even though Noah is landing the Qs, he's not getting through this Mundo. He's not getting through the Rek'Sai. And it's soul for KC, and the game that already looked dire is now Jun without the flash. He tried to have that miracle engage.
And we already saw how hard it is for Isma to play against this team with the movement speed steroid from the Nami, with the Mundo who doesn't care about that CC, and now they have Hex Tech Soul. You're never going to outspace them. You're never going to outmaneuver them. You need Casey to make mistakes if you want to land any abilities. And Casey thus far, they might have misstepped once or twice, but never enough to shake their hold on this game. And you can see it sucks to be Noah because he has to build healing reduction, but he also really needs Giant Slayer. He needs like 5 different items before he's really going to be able to do anything against this Casey team.
I mean, you just took out 2.5K of that 5K gold lead in that last fight, and you still couldn't carry. And I think that's where, unfortunately for GIANTX, they just don't have enough in the tank. And they, Jack, I think you said it perfectly, like, Noah can hit as many Qs as he wants, but there just isn't enough to get through this front line. KC now just too far ahead. And it feels like they can start firing at any time, but GIANTX are going to try and play off that and look for a play on boss.
Ulti into bot lane, kyeahoo unstoppable. Dashing back over the wall can go unstoppable again with the weirding to get away from the flick back. Taking his time on this one. So far the dive not going well. His lot looks like he's probably going to drop. They will be able to make the dive work at the cost of the Baron. But GX at least grabbed that 1 kill, and now it's Busio clearing mid-wave while his team takes the Baron just to make sure they don't lose another tower.
I like this from GIANTX, so they know that they're probably going to have to drop the Nash no matter what. If they let kyeahoo just push out bot, they would get full control of the Nash, and Casey would get it regardless. So GIANTX, they strike back with a proactive play. They're going to get plates in mid lane, going to get the bot tower, and now the question is just, can we stem the bleeding from this Nasher? Can we protect the inhibitors? Because if they can, then the game can go to Elder, and we all know anything can happen at Elder.
Praying on the 50-50s. But praying against Yike on the 50-50s is a really bad deal. So again, we see the vision. There is a path forward to victory, but for GX, they need Casey to misstep to get over eager, and it's just such a hard thing to ask for in this moment.
And it looks like what GIANTX are trying to do is just get this rabbit on death tap on towards Jack. He's very, very close to it, and even giving that gold on the bottom side to him. But for GIANTX, it still feels like a hope and a prayer. They have to try and survive for another 2 minutes on this Baron onslaught, and then afterwards still find that success at the Elder Dragon.
Very likely in a map state where they will have no vision over that crucial objective. Just because of the timing of the Baron, Casey maybe want to reset and grab more wards after this Baron push, but if they choose not to, it'll be GX fighting through enemy territory every single step of the way. Flick from Jack, he's trying to shove the wave or clear out as much as he can before anyone with Casey and the Baron buff gets there. Nice thing about the seismic shove, you know, again, silver linings is you can at least throw the cannon minion back into your tower.
I mean, it's pretty good wave clear from GIANTX with the Ezreal and the Taliyah. So if they can try to delay this tier 2 take as much as possible and try to not lose that inhibitor, that's really their goal here.
Yike is happy to just tank this up because Corki was pushing mid. Caliste doing some damage. There goes the tier 2 as GIANTX try and hold on to both that bot and mid wave. But you can already see the turrets starting to, or turret plates in that mid lane starting to fall.
Really good pressure by Yike to get that tier 2, and now Caliste is just hitting that mid tower. They're taking these towers so damn fast.
Caliste not opting for any armor pen does mean that Lot is a more effective frontliner than you'd expect this kind of difference in the game. But it does also mean that Jun, Isma, Noah are that much more vulnerable to the sheer amount of damage support you can do against unarmored targets.
Casey have done a really good job of staying out of the extra turret plate armor range though, which is just allowing this cannon minion to do so much work on the mid wave. And now KC looking to take it finally.
Tower broken open, 30 seconds left. One more wave to play around. Will at least be a single inhibitor, guaranteeing that pressure point for KC before this big objective. I think KC would love to get bot lane, or at the very least get some crucial spells from the side of GX just to cement their advantage at the coming Elder fight. Look, GX misstep. The game could very well end here. They need to answer this mid wave. Caliste constantly being sped up by the Tidecaller's blessing. The ebb and flow as well, just to keep him sustained. Yike. They're doing some chunks. That's the ulti from Lot. Not going to have much effect as he just tries to zone them away from the waves. One last desperate hold for GX. Casey don't even need to risk anything around that Elder. Jun going in, looking for the knockup again. Finds Caliste. The follow-up isn't there. A flick from McHale's to stop the root from coming through. The flick back does not connect. And KC are demolishing GX in the final fight, putting that gold advantage to work. Jackies can do nothing but watch as the Mundo does again go wherever he damn well pleases. GX getting taken down as KC take their sweet time, moving on to match point. In an incredibly one-sided game too. They want to dive the fountain. They want to show a force.
It was slow. It was inevitable. KC continue their steps forward, one game away from facing off against MCOR.